My 21st birthday party. When everyone raised their glasses for a toast, we've been laughing behind your back for 21 years. Even your girlfriend said you disgusted her. We'd pay her $200 a week to touch you. Then Dad stood up. Your real parents? They begged us to take you, said you were a mistake that ruined their lives. The trust fund? We spent it on your sister's real education. Then he added, pack your things. The locks change at midnight. I stood up, spat in their food and said, you'll regret this. That was 6 years ago. And finally, today, my revenge was completely ready. 10 hours later, they're all destroyed. Sobbing, texting frantically, we're sorry. Please answer. Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. So I don't even know how to start this. I've never posted anything this long on here before, but I guess I just need to get it out. If you think this is fake, whatever, I get it. But this is exactly how it went down. I'm not looking for advice or sympathy, just need to put it somewhere. If you're the type who likes happy endings or whatever, just skip this. This is not that. So, my name's Corey. I'm 27 now, but this all started on my 21st birthday. I know it sounds like a setup already, but it's not. I grew up in a family that always felt off, like I was there but not really in it, you know? My parents, Wanda and Dario, always acted like they were doing me a favor just by letting me exist. My sister Rosalie was the golden child. Always got the new stuff, the attention, the oh she's so talented crap. I was just there, I guess. I had a girlfriend at the time, Skylar, who I thought was the only person who actually liked me for me, lol. Yeah, so my 21st. I remember the week before, Wanda kept asking if I wanted to do something special for my birthday, but in that way where you know she doesn't actually care what you say. Dario was barely around, always busy with something, and Rosalie was home from her program. Don't even get me started on that, it's a whole thing. Skylar was acting weird, like she'd be on her phone a lot, texting and then putting it face down when I walked in. I figured maybe she was planning something, or maybe she was just bored of me. I don't know. I was just trying to get through the week. The day of, Wanda made this big deal about how we were having a family dinner at home, but she invited a couple of their friends too, like Gladys and her husband, who I barely knew. I remember thinking it was weird, but I didn't want to make a thing out of it. I just wanted to get through the night. Maybe have a drink, maybe get a little cake, whatever. I didn't expect anything, honestly. So we're all sitting at the table, and it's just awkward, like everyone's talking, but not really to me. Skylar's next to me, but she's scrolling on her phone under the table, barely looking up. Rosalie's across from me making these little comments about how grown up I look, but in that way where you know she's making fun of you. Wanda keeps refilling everyone's wine, but not mine, which is just classic her. Dario's at the head of the table just watching, not saying much. I remember thinking, this is the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in my own house. Then, out of nowhere, Gladys says something like, so Corey, how does it feel to be the man of the hour? And everyone laughs. But it's not a nice laugh, it's like they're all in on a joke I don't get. I just kind of smile and say, yeah, it's weird I guess. And then it gets quiet, like everyone's waiting for something. Wanda stands up, glass in hand, and says, let's do a toast. And everyone stands up, even Skylar, who finally puts her phone down. Wanda starts talking about how it's been a long 21 years, and how we've all had our laughs. I'm just sitting there trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Then she says, we've been laughing behind your back for 21 years. Even Skylar said you disgusted her. We pay her $200 a week to touch you. I just sit there. I don't even know what to say. I look at Skylar and she just looks away, like she can't even look at me. Rosalie's grinning like this is the best thing she's ever seen. Dario stands up and I think maybe he's going to stop it, but he just keeps going. Your real parents? They begged us to take you, said you were a mistake that ruined their lives. The trust fund? We spent it on your sister's real education. Then he says, pack your things. The locks change at midnight. I don't even know. I stand up and I can feel my hands shaking, but I don't care. I look at all of them and I just spit right in the middle of the table, right on their food. Wanda gasps, Rosalie yells at me, Dario just stares. Skylar tries to grab my arm, but I pull away. I tell them, you'll regret this. I don't even remember what else I said. I just know I was yelling. I push my chair back so hard it hits the wall. I grab my phone and my keys and I walk out. Wanda tries to follow me, but I slam the door behind me. I get in my car and just drive. I don't even know where I'm going. I end up in some parking lot just sitting there trying to figure out what the hell just happened. My phone starts blowing up, texts from Wanda, Dario, even Rosalie. All of them saying stuff like, you're overreacting, you need to come back and apologize, you're not going to make it on your own. Skylar texts me, says she's sorry but she had to do it. I block her. I block all of them. I sleep in my car that night. I don't go back. I don't even think about it. I just know I'm done with them. I don't care what it takes. I'm not letting them win. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I know I'm not going to just disappear. They want me gone. Fine. But they're not getting away with it. I know people are going to say this sounds fake, but I swear this is exactly how it went down. I don't even care if you believe me. I just needed to put it somewhere. I'm not looking for advice. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just want them to know if they ever see this, that I'm not done. Not even close. That was 6 years ago. I've been planning ever since, and now I'm finally ready. Part 2 coming, if anyone actually cares. Update 1. So yeah, if you read Part 1, you know how I walked out after that birthday dinner. I still get mad just thinking about it. I know some people are going to say I should have just let it go, but honestly, if you'd been there, you'd get it. Anyway, I crashed in my car that night, which sucked, but it was better than being in that house. I had like half a tank of gas, my phone, my wallet, and a hoodie. That's it. I didn't even have a charger, so I had to keep my phone off most of the time. I remember just sitting there scrolling through old texts from Skylar, trying to figure out if there were signs I missed. I guess there were, but it's always obvious after. The next morning I woke up to a bunch of missed calls and texts. Wanda sent this long message about how I was making a scene and embarrassing the family. Dario just sent one line, said I needed to come get my stuff before they threw it out. Rosalie sent a meme, like a crying baby or something. Skylar sent a bunch of short texts like, sorry, I didn't want to. They made me. Please talk to me. I didn't answer any of them. I just sat there watching the sun come up, feeling like I was in some weird movie. Except it was just boring and cold, and I had to pee. I ended up driving to this park I used to go to when I was a kid. I just sat on a bench for a while trying to figure out what to do. I didn't have anywhere to go. I texted a couple people I thought were friends, but most of them either didn't answer or said they were busy. One guy, Neil, said I could crash on his couch for a night, but his mom wasn't cool with it long term. I get it. Nobody wants drama in their house. I ended up staying there for 2 nights, just long enough to charge my phone and shower. Neil was chill, but you could tell he didn't want to get in the middle of it. He kept asking if I was sure it wasn't just a misunderstanding, like maybe they were drunk or something. I told him what they said, and he just kind of stared at me like he didn't know what to say. I didn't blame him. After that, I bounced around for a bit. I slept in my car a lot, sometimes in random parking lots, sometimes at rest stops. I tried to get my stuff from the house, but when I showed up, Wanda opened the door just enough to tell me I wasn't welcome. She said they donated most of my clothes and boxed up the rest. She handed me a trash bag with some old shirts and socks, then slammed the door. I didn't even see Dario or Rosalie. I just stood there for a minute, then left. I didn't even bother knocking again. I started to realize pretty quick that I was on my own. I had a little bit of cash, but not much. I sold some old games and stuff on Facebook Marketplace just to get by. I ate a lot of gas station food. I tried to get a place with a couple guys I knew from high school, but they were all living with their parents or had roommates who didn't want another person. I ended up renting a room in this sketchy house with 3 other people. It was cheap, but it was loud and smelled like weed all the time. I didn't care. I just needed a place to sleep. The thing is, the more time I spent away from them, the more I started to see how messed up it all was. Like, I always knew Wanda and Dario didn't really like me, but I never thought they'd go that far. I started thinking about all the little things. How Rosalie always got new stuff. How they'd make jokes about me being the spare. How Skylar never wanted to hang out with my family unless there was money involved. It all started to make sense. In a way, I guess they just saw me as a joke, or a burden, or whatever. I don't know. I started following them online just to see what they were up to. Wanda was always posting these fake happy family pics on Facebook like nothing happened. Dario barely posted anything, just the occasional photo of his car or some inspirational quote. Rosalie was all over Instagram posting about her amazing life and hard work at her program. Skylar blocked me on everything, but I made a burner just to see what she was up to. She was already posting pics with some new guy like a week after my birthday. I guess that's just how it goes. I started to get angry. Like, really angry. Not just at them, but at myself for not seeing it sooner. I started writing down everything I remembered, stuff they said, things I overheard, weird conversations. I started looking for ways to get back at them, but I didn't want to do anything illegal. I just wanted them to feel what I felt. Even if it took a while, one thing I noticed was that Wanda and Dario were always talking about money. Even when I was a kid, they'd fight about bills, about Rosalie's education, about vacations we never took. I remembered once Wanda was yelling at Dario about some loan they had to pay back and how they couldn't afford another mistake. I didn't get it at the time, but now it made sense. They were broke, or close to it, and they blamed me for it. I started digging around, looking for anything I could use. I checked public records, old emails, anything I could find. It wasn't easy, but I had a lot of time on my hands. I found out that Rosalie's program wasn't even a real school. It was some online thing she barely showed up for. Wanda was always bragging about how smart she was, but it was all fake. Dario was behind on payments for his car, and they were getting letters from the bank. I started thinking maybe I could use that. Maybe I could make things worse for them, just enough to make them sweat. I started small. I sent anonymous tips to the program about Rosalie not showing up. I knew she'd get in trouble if they found out she was lying. I left reviews online about Wanda's charity work, just enough to make people ask questions. I made sure Dario's car got flagged for parking violations, just to mess with him. Nothing illegal, just annoying. I wanted them to feel like they were losing control. The thing is, they started to notice. Wanda called me one night, screaming about how I was ruining her life. I just hung up. Rosalie sent me a DM, said I was jealous and pathetic. I didn't answer. Dario showed up at my place once, banging on the door, but my roommate told him to leave or he'd call the cops. Dario shoved him, then left. I watched from the window just to make sure he was gone. I started to realize that they weren't as strong as they pretended to be. They were scared, or at least annoyed, and that was enough for now. I started saving every message, every voicemail, every little thing they sent me. I wanted a record, just in case. I started talking to people who knew them, just to see what they were saying. Most people didn't want to get involved, but a couple of them told me Wanda was complaining about ungrateful kids and family drama. Nobody really cared. Honestly, people have their own problems. I kept pushing, little by little. I made sure Rosalie's friends knew about her fake school. I made sure Wanda's charity got audited. I made sure Dario's car got towed. Nothing huge, just enough to make them uncomfortable. I wanted them to know I wasn't going away. I wanted them to feel what it was like to have someone mess with your life for no reason. The weird thing is, the more I did, the less I cared about what they thought. I stopped checking their socials as much. I stopped caring if they hated me. I just wanted to win, even if it was petty. I started making plans, real plans, for how to hit them where it hurt. I started saving money, looking for ways to get ahead. I knew it would take time, but I was patient. I had nothing but time. The last thing that really pushed me over the edge was when I found out Wanda and Dario were trying to get money from my real parents. I don't know how they tracked them down, but I saw an email on Wanda's laptop when I went to get the last of my stuff. She was begging them for money, saying I was out of control and they needed help. My real parents never answered as far as I know. I guess they didn't care either. So yeah, that's where I was at. Alone, broke, but not beaten. I started to see that they weren't invincible. They were just people. And people make mistakes. I was done being the joke. I was done letting them win. Next part, I'll get into how I started turning things around. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick, but it was worth it. If you're still reading, thanks. I know this is a lot, but I needed to get it out. I'm not done yet. Not even close. Update 2. So I guess this is the part where things actually started to get interesting. Or at least less pathetic. I know some people reading this are probably thinking I should have just moved on. But honestly, if you've ever been humiliated like that, you know it's not that easy. I wasn't about to just let them keep living like nothing happened. I wanted them to feel it every single day the way I did. And yeah, I know that sounds petty, but whatever. I'm not pretending to be the bigger person here. It started with little stuff. Like I said before, I was just poking at them, seeing what would get a reaction. But after a while, I realized I needed to step it up. They were still posting their fake happy family crap online, still acting like they were better than everyone. Wanda was always tagging Rosalie in these posts about proud mom moments, and hard work pays off. Dario was still flexing his car, even though I knew he was behind on payments. Rosalie was posting about her internship and networking events, like she was some kind of influencer. But I knew it was all fake. I started to notice that the more I messed with them, the more desperate they got. Wanda started calling me more, leaving these long voicemails about how I was ruining the family name and hurting Rosalie's future. Dario sent me a text once, just said, "You're not as smart as you think." I didn't answer. One thing that really set me off was when I heard from Neil, the only guy who let me crash at his place after everything went down, that Wanda was telling people I was unstable and dangerous, like she was actually warning people not to let me around their kids. I guess she thought if she made me look bad enough, nobody would believe me if I ever tried to tell the truth. That just made me want to go harder. So I started digging deeper. I spent hours online looking up anything I could find about them. I found out Wanda was on the board of this local charity, and she'd been bragging about it for years. I started sending anonymous emails to the board, asking questions about where the money was going. I didn't accuse her of anything, just asked enough questions to make them look into it. I heard from someone, not even a friend, just a guy I knew from high school who worked with the charity, that Wanda got called in for a meeting and came out looking pissed. She posted some vague status about haters trying to tear down good people. I laughed when I saw it. With Rosalie, it was easier. She was always posting about her program, but I knew she barely showed up. I started messaging people she tagged in her posts, just asking if they'd seen her at class lately. Most of them ignored me, but a couple said they hadn't seen her in weeks. I made sure to screenshot everything. I sent an anonymous tip to the program's admin, just said I was concerned about her attendance. A week later, she posted a story about fake friends and jealous people. I guess she figured out someone was watching her. Dario was harder to get to. He didn't post much, and he was always careful about what he said, but I remembered he used to brag about this investment he made with a couple guys from his gym. I started asking around, just casual stuff like, "Hey, is Dario still doing that thing with those guys?" Most people didn't know anything, but one guy said he hadn't seen Dario at the gym in months. I started to wonder if maybe he'd lost money, or if he was hiding from someone. I started leaving notes on his car, just stuff like, "Pay what you owe," or "They're looking for you." Nothing illegal, just enough to make him paranoid. I heard from Neil that Dario was asking around about me, trying to find out where I was living. I made sure to keep my address off everything. The thing is, the more I pushed, the more they started to crack. Wanda started calling my old friends, trying to get them to talk to me. She even showed up at Neil's house once, banging on the door and yelling at his mom. Neil texted me after, said Wanda was screaming about how I was ruining Rosalie's future and destroying the family. His mom told her to leave or she'd call the cops. Wanda slapped the door and left. I guess she thought she could scare me into stopping, but it just made me want to go harder. Rosalie started DMing me, first just calling me names, then begging me to stop. She said I was jealous and pathetic, that I'd never be as successful as her. I didn't answer. She blocked me, then unblocked me a week later to send more messages. I just screenshotted everything. I started sending her fake emails from admissions at her program, saying her attendance was under review. She freaked out, posted a story about cyberbullies and toxic people. I just watched. Dario finally snapped one day and showed up at my place. I was in the kitchen when I heard banging on the door. My roommate opened it, and Dario just pushed past him, yelling my name. I came out, and he got in my face, started yelling about how I was tearing the family apart and ruining everything. I told him to get out. He shoved me, so I shoved him back. My roommate got between us and told Dario to leave or he'd call the cops. Dario slammed the door on his way out. I just stood there shaking, but not scared, just mad. After that, I started getting more creative. I made sure Wanda's charity got audited again. I sent more tips to Rosalie's program. I started posting screenshots of Rosalie's fake posts and group chats with people she knew, just to make sure everyone saw it. I made sure Dario's car got towed again, just for fun. I started saving every message, every voicemail, every little thing they sent me. I wanted a record, just in case. The best part was they started turning on each other. Wanda started blaming Dario for not handling it. Rosalie started blaming Wanda for making it worse. Dario started blaming Rosalie for being careless. I heard from Neil that Wanda and Dario were fighting all the time, yelling loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Rosalie moved out for a while, stayed with a friend but came back when she ran out of money. Wanda posted a long rant on Facebook about family betrayal and ungrateful children. Nobody commented. I started to realize that I didn't even have to do much anymore. They were doing most of the work for me. All I had to do was keep the pressure on, keep poking at their weak spots. I started saving money, looking for ways to get ahead. I knew it would take time, but I was patient. I had nothing but time. The last thing that really pushed me over the edge was when I found out Wanda and Dario were trying to get money from my real parents. I don't know how they tracked them down, but I saw an email on Wanda's laptop when I went to get the last of my stuff. She was begging them for money, saying I was out of control and they needed help. My real parents never answered, as far as I know. I guess they didn't care either. So yeah, that's where I was at. Alone. Broke. But not beaten. I started to see that they weren't invincible. They were just people. And people make mistakes. I was done being the joke. I was done letting them win. Next part, I'll get into how I started turning things around. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick, but it was worth it. If you're still reading, thanks. I know this is a lot, but I needed to get it out. I'm not done yet. Not even close. Final update. So I guess this is it, the part where I actually did what I said I'd do. I know some people reading this probably think I'm just bitter or whatever, but honestly, I don't care. I said I'd make them regret it, and I did. It took 6 years, but I got there. If you're expecting some big movie moment, you're not going to get it. This is just what happened, and it's messy and real, and honestly, I'm still pissed. The weirdest thing is, the day it all went down, it started out totally normal. I was at my place scrolling through my phone, just killing time. I'd been working on this for so long, it almost felt like a habit, like checking the weather or whatever. I'd been keeping tabs on Wanda, Dario, and Rosalie for years, just waiting for the right moment. I had screenshots, emails, texts, all of it. I had a folder on my laptop called Receipts, and it was just packed with stuff. I'd been patient, but I was done waiting. What really set it off was this message I got from Rosalie, out of nowhere. She just said, "You win. I hope you're happy." I didn't even answer. I just sat there looking at it, thinking, yeah, I am. But I wasn't done. So here's what I did. I started with Wanda. She'd been running her little charity scam for years, always bragging about how she was helping the community. I had proof she was skimming money, not a ton, but enough to get her in trouble with the board. I sent everything I had to the board members, all at once. I didn't sign my name, just dumped the whole folder in their inboxes. I heard from someone, not even a friend, just a guy who used to go to school with Rosalie, that Wanda got called in for a meeting and came out looking like she'd been slapped. She tried to play it off, but people started asking questions. She posted some long rant on Facebook about betrayal and fake friends. Nobody cared. Then Dario. He'd been hiding his money problems for years, always acting like he was some big shot. I knew he was behind on payments for his car, and I knew he owed money to a couple people in town. I made sure they all knew exactly where to find him. I sent them his address, his phone number, everything. I didn't even have to say anything, just sent the info and let them do the rest. Dario started getting calls. People showing up at the house, banging on the door. Wanda freaked out, called me screaming, but I just hung up. I heard from Neil that Dario tried to sell his car, but nobody wanted it. He ended up parking it on the street, and someone keyed it. I laughed when I heard that. Rosalie was the easiest. She'd been lying about her program for years, posting fake certificates and Photoshopped pics. I sent everything to the admin, all the screenshots, all the proof she was faking it. I sent it to her friends too, just to make sure everyone saw it. She got dropped from the program, blocked by half her friends, and started posting these sad stories about haters and toxic people. I didn't answer any of her messages. She tried to call me once, but I let it go to voicemail. She just cried and said she was sorry. I deleted it. The best part was, they all turned on each other. Wanda blamed Dario for not protecting the family. Dario blamed Rosalie for being careless. Rosalie blamed Wanda for making it worse. They started fighting all the time, yelling loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Wanda slapped Dario once, right in the middle of the street. Rosalie threw a glass at the wall and stormed out. I just watched from across the street, sitting in my car, eating chips. Nobody noticed me. It all came to a head about 10 hours after I sent everything out. My phone started blowing up. Texts from Wanda, Dario, Rosalie, even Skylar. Yeah, she tried to get in on it too, like I'd ever talk to her again. They were all saying the same thing. Please stop. We're sorry. Just talk to us. We'll do anything. Wanda sent this long message about how she never meant to hurt me and just wanted the best for the family. Dario said he was sorry for everything and just wanted to talk. Rosalie just sent crying emojis and said she couldn't take it anymore. I didn't answer any of them. I guess the thing that really got me was how fast it all fell apart. They spent years making me feel like I was nothing, like I was just a joke, and it only took a day to ruin them. I didn't even have to do anything illegal. I just told the truth and let them deal. I know some people are going to say I went too far, but honestly, I don't care. They deserved it. Wanda ended up quitting the charity. Dario sold his car for next to nothing and moved in with his brother. Rosalie dropped out of her program and moved back home, but nobody talks to her anymore. Skylar tried to message me a few more times, but I blocked her. I heard from Neil that Wanda and Dario are barely speaking, and Rosalie spends most of her time in her room. I don't feel bad, not even a little. I know this isn't some big happy ending. I'm still on my own, still figuring things out, but at least now, when I look at my phone and see their names, I don't feel anything. Just done. I said I'd make them regret it, and I did. That's enough for me. So yeah, that's it. 6 years. A lot of anger, and now it's over. If you're reading this and you've ever been in the same spot, just know, you don't have to forgive anyone. You don't have to be the bigger person. Sometimes you just have to win.